Hi everyone, thanks for watching. Now it is raining outside, so I've decided to spend the afternoon cooking from my grandmother's cookbook. Today's recipe is wine octopus. Now that involves a little bit of octopus, some red wine, a few tomatoes, an onion, and the addition of pasta because I've decided to turn this recipe into a wine octopus with pasta recipe. Now, I must warn you, this is not for the faint-hearted because we do need to clean and cut up the octopus and there's lots of ooey and gooey things in between. However, you do not need to use a whole octopus. You can use frozen baby octopus or you can have your fishmonger clean the octopus for you. So let's move over to the octopus. So we've got our head and our tentacles. In the middle are the eyes and a beak. So we want to separate the two parts, head and tentacles, and get rid of the eyes, get rid of that middle bit. So we'll start by cutting the head and the tentacles. Okay, that is a very clean cut. This is the bit, the middle bit that we don't want. Okay, so now we're left with head and tentacles. We're gonna take the head and start dealing with this little baby in the sink. Water on. We need to rinse the outside of the head. It is slimy. We're rinsing it to get rid of the slime, but don't be too concerned about washing it too well because we are going to actually start with the inside of the head. Now, we need to turn the inside of the head inside out. You may find that a bit difficult, so what I like to do with the knife is just make 2 incisions just on either side, just to give you a little bit of give. And just another. Gross. All right, let's turn the head inside out. Okay, this is probably the most disgusting bit because you literally have to push everything that's inside out. Okay, oh my God, that's just gross. Okay. Gross but necessary. All right, guys, I'm going to show you the inside of an octopus's head. That way there are no shocks when you do this at home. All right, have a good look. Water on. There's only one way to do this, that's underwater and gripping and pulling off all of that disgustingness. Okay, so just grab hold and pull. If you are very lucky, like I am right now, yeah baby, it's come off basically in one big part. So, I could not have hoped for anything better. So now we are just going to clean up the head. Honestly, that has never happened to me before. That was just pure luck. It may take a little more time for you. And if it does, I'm sorry in advance. And also just keep pulling and cleaning until you get to this point, which I have gotten to very, very easily. You'll also find that there are bits of like kind of clear, skinny stuff attached to the inside of the head. Just remove it. I don't know that you actually have to, but you may as well while you're on the inside. There's another bit, get rid of it. Okay, think that, I'm just gonna turn the water off and just have a good look because I think that is pretty much okay. The other thing I like to do is if you have kind of little hangy bits like that, I just like to get rid of them. So you can either do that with a knife or just pull them off. Again, I just don't think it's necessary that they're there. I really love and take such great pride when working with octopus. I just love to see white, clean, clear white. Just check out around the base because that's where a lot of that kind of stuff that needs to be pulled off, that clear skin that I showed you before, where a lot of that might sit. And you know, even if you're not making this recipe, it's really good just to know how to clean an octopus, because before I got my hands on my grandmother's cookbook, I had no idea. It might make you appreciate ordering octopus in a restaurant a little more. But like I said, totally lucky this time. So, clean head, loving life, too easy. However, we do need to go back on the outside and clean the outside of the head. Now this bit is really easy and nothing compared to the inside. All you're doing is rinsing and then grabbing hold of the skin and pulling it off. So first, we're gonna rinse. Again, it's slimy. Get rid of the slime. You do not want to be eating with your friends and family and serving them slimy octopus. It's not meant to be. Now, just a note, it doesn't matter how much you pull and pull at the octopus and you know, whatever else, you're not going to tear it in half. It's really, really tough meat. So we now need to remove anything that is not white. So basically that's the entire outside layer. Easy. Find a bit to grab onto, which isn't, there we go. Find a bit to grab onto. You might have to create a bit to grab onto and just pull, literally. It will all come off in one go. It's easy, just see you later, literally, bye-bye. Done. We have what is now a white piece of octopus. Again, give it a rinse, get rid of the slime, make sure it's clean. Something my grandmother tells me over and over and over again, wash your meat. Okay. And that is done. Clean octopus head. We now need to deal with our tentacles. So here they are. First things first, turn the octopus inside out, right? Upside down. See that black thing? That is a beak. You need and you must remove the beak because it is not something you want to cook. It's not something you want to find in your mouth. It is incredibly hard. It's like a pebble. So the only way to remove this is I guess you could cut it out, but the easiest thing to do is just push. And you've got to push quite hard and pull. Get rid of it. There it is. Okay, see you later. Don't want you. Now the tentacles are quite easy. They're slimy. All we need to do is rinse. And this is the easy part because literally all we're doing is rinsing. We do not need to remove skin. There is really nothing to clean. So rinse them both sides. Give them a bit of a rub. Kind of feels like you're hand washing clothes. Okay, a little bit more. You'll know when you're rinsed enough because they just won't feel, the tentacles or the head, whatever it is you're dealing with, it just won't feel slimy anymore. See, there's that beautiful white. It's a clean octopus. Okay. Squeeze a bit of the water out of it. I don't know why I do that, but I do. Pop it into our I'm clean and ready to cook bowl, and we're ready to move on to the next step, which is cutting up the octopus. Alrighty, hard bit over. Easy bit is cutting up the octopus. So we can start with the head. We're literally just going to slice. So there's really not that much wasted when you're cooking octopus. So as you're cutting, they're just going to be rings. Okay. All right, so we've got our separate rings there. We'll put them aside, and now we are going to move on to the tentacles. So as you can see, if I hold the tentacles that way, you've got the base and each tentacle. All we're doing is detaching the tentacles, so nice and easy. So spread your octopus out like so, and it actually might be easier if you work the other way. So have the octopus suckers down. Okay, yeah, much easier. Once you've removed one, it's a lot easier. Two. You know, this isn't a relatively big octopus. I think it's about, I don't know, 500 grams. And I think you're better off working with smaller octopuses and just more of them if you have to, because the meat tends to be more tender. Octopus can be a really chewy meat. So, you know, the smaller the better. Okay. And this one, I'm just going to tidy up a little bit, just cut that little bit off. Okay, done. Look at those suckers. So interesting. Okay, so there's our octopus in strips. We now need to probably cut each tentacle in half, just because we are cooking it with pasta, and I don't think it would be that appetizing to have, you know, pieces of octopus that big in the dish. So we'll just lay them all out. Now in the book, Sophia, the author, says to cut each piece of octopus, each tentacle, about the length of 4, you know, like of your fingers, and if the tentacles are meant to be the width of 4 fingers, but our tentacles, like, clearly are not the width of 4 fingers. It is like 1 of my fingers, and I have little fingers, so we will alter that part of the recipe and cut as we see fit. So I think, you know, half of a finger length would be fine. So there is our octopus done. Now you don't actually have to cut the octopus tentacles in half if you don't want to, it's just something that I prefer to do. So next step would be to move on to our tomato puree, cut up our onion and start the cooking process. I've never been good at peeling an onion. I am sure that there is a trick to peeling an onion. I am yet to work it out. So if you do know of a trick or of an easier way, a quick way to peel an onion, can you please let me know? Thank you in advance. Although in saying that, was probably the quickest I've ever peeled an onion, really. Usually it takes me forever. Okay, so onion, cut it up. So I'm just gonna quarter it. Whoa, it's a strong onion. And okay, move that aside. Let's move on to our tomatoes. So we are going to remove all of the green bits. So getting rid of all my little green friends. I'm just gonna cut the tops of the tomatoes up in half. That would help. These tomatoes smell really, really sweet. And they're a beautiful, you know, color inside as well. All right, so put this back on. Okay, tomatoes in the food processor, lid on, tears have stopped. Let's puree. I just want to check it just for a minute. Yeah, that's pretty much pureed. So we've got our onion, we've got our tomato. I think we can move over to the stove and start cooking. So we have our onion and octopus that are going into the pan first, followed by the tomato puree, which we have already done. But before we do all that, I need to add some oil to my pot, and I am going to do that the Greek way. Now, Sophia, the author of the cooking book, she specifies that you need to measure out the oil in a specific way, which makes me laugh because it's the same way that I remember my grandmother and pretty much every other seriously Greek woman measure their ingredients and their quantities, and that is with a teacup. So we have our Greek measuring cup and the oil, and I'm just going to measure out 1 cup. This is olive oil, by the way. Okay, sorry, put this on. And just pour it in. All right, there we go. Now, before we add the onion and the octopus, obviously we're just gonna leave the oil to heat up a little bit. So, I don't know, a minute or so. I've got it over a high heat, so it shouldn't take too long. So, like I said, you can use a teacup to measure out your ingredients, but there's a bit of speculation, and I was having this conversation with another girlfriend of mine. Her mother doesn't actually use a teacup. She uses a Greek coffee cup, which is like a shorter type of espresso cup. But I did a quick Google search last night, and the actual terminology, which is in Greek, I'm not even going to try and repeat it or recite it, the terminology that the author Sophia uses, Google Images are presented with a teacup. So I've borrowed this teacup off my mother. All right, so I'm going to add the onion. I'm also going to add the octopus. Smells really, really good already. Although it just smells like onion, it's just, I don't know, it's just that smell, like it automatically makes you starve. Okay, so I'm just gonna give it a quick stir and combine, just to combine the octopus and the onion and make sure that all the octopus is really well coated by the oil. And that will do. Put the lid on, just double checking that it's on a medium heat. Yes, it is. Don't want anything to cook too quickly. Okay, and as per recipe, I'm just gonna leave it for a couple of minutes before I go back to add my red wine, which is meant to be black wine. Our pot has been cooking for about 4 to 5 minutes on high. So I'm going to take the lid off now and just show you a few things. Okay, first of all, there seems to be quite a bit of water in the pot, but if you remember, if you think back, I didn't add water to this pot. So what has happened is during the cooking process, the water has been drawn out of the octopus, so that explains the water. Also, the octopus you can see is cooked because it's pink. And I also mentioned before that as you cook the octopus, the tentacles will curl, and that has also happened. So everything in the pot is pink, including the octopus. There is water, which will help with the sauce, and tentacles are curled. So I think that we can add the wine. In the recipe, it says that you need to steam the wine as you add the wine, it will steam. I think to me what that means is add the wine, let it boil and kind of evaporate, you know, let the alcohol evaporate just a bit. So again, we take out our Greek measuring cup and measure out 2 cups of wine. Now this is our black wine, which I think is red wine. It's actually a fair bit of wine when you think about it. Two cups. Put that aside. I'm just going to give that a stir. Make sure this is on high heat. And just let the wine and all the juices and the octopus just boil together for a couple of minutes. I'd probably say maybe 5 minutes will do it, and lid off. So what was pink, our pink pot has now turned purple. So we'll leave that to boil for a couple of minutes. Next step is to add the tomato puree. We're gonna leave that for about 20 minutes and then you can cook your pasta, which, you know, straightforward, and sit down and enjoy your meal. So our pot's been on the boil for about 5 minutes now, so I think it's about time for us to add the tomato puree. So we can take our puree and add it to the saucepan. All right, so give it a stir to combine everything, and the puree will help thicken the octopus and everything else that's in the pan and turn it into a sauce. Alrighty, so we'll leave that, we've mixed it. I think we should leave that just for a couple of minutes, let it boil for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, then turn it down to, you know, a simmer or just a bit more than a simmer, and let it thicken. In the meantime, I'm going to add salt and pepper. So, always my Greek salt, because we now should know that I love my imported products. Why can I not open this side? There we go. I don't think it'll need a lot of salt because, I mean, it is seafood and it comes from the ocean, which is salty. Pepper. It's such a bummer that I can't get Greek pepper. I can get this salt that's imported from Greece, but they do not stock pepper. So odd, I really want the pepper. Give it a mix or a stir. Okay. Leave that to boil for about 2 minutes, put it on simmer, let it simmer for about 20 minutes, and in the meantime I'd probably start preparing my pasta. So put some water in a pot, get it on the boil. You know, you generally cook your pasta for about, 8 to 10 minutes. And I think it's safe to then say that it's lunchtime. Here is our wine octopus with pasta. Now I must admit, this recipe did catch me off guard because I think I was expecting the finished product to look a little different to what it does. I personally was expecting to see something that was a little more red in colour, when in fact, as you can see, the prominent colour is purple. Now here's some variations for you. At the cutting stage of the octopus, you could blanch each piece of octopus in boiling water. So each piece 3 times for 30 seconds each time. That will help to tenderize the octopus. It will also help the tentacles to curl, so it will look, a bit better presentation-wise. And most importantly, blanching will also draw the water out of the octopus, making your sauce a little thicker. You could also add some sugar to the sauce to tone down the acidic levels and just sweeten it up a bit. And then of course, if your sauce is a little runny, like mine was, you could add a tablespoon of tomato paste, and that will solve that problem for you. So that's enough for me. I'm looking forward to my lunch. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.